Assalamu alaikum, family. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on a behavior that quietly sabotages our ability to build trust, morality, and cooperative economics. And many of you have asked me about this. You say, look, going into business, I just don't know who to trust. A lot of times we don't know who to trust because we're trying to become prejudiced or prejudge based on looks, based on background. But I'm going to show you something about behavior that you and I both need to be mindful of. So be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer. Let's get into it.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserved to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome, welcome, and double welcome. Let me tell you something. This show gonna help you today. It's gonna help you today. I'm telling you, I promise. Okay, couple of quick announcements before we get started. Y'all saw the announcement for the Readers Theater that we're having. Go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com to learn more. You can attend live and in person, or you can live stream. It's going to be in the iconic sitting room of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. I'm going to be doing a book signing in Houston at the El Dorado Room next week. So go to the website. You'll learn all about that. Go to Art and Science of Business. That's actually right here. And you can learn more about that. Make sure you pick up your book and start studying, start reading, so we can have a real fruitful discussion at these book signings. I'm trying to think. It was something else I was going to tell y'all, but I'm so excited about this subject. I just really want to get into it, because here's the thing. And this is why I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he just really gave us the keys to the kingdom. I was saying to my mother the other day that I'm so grateful to be awake and a woke, conscious Black woman in the classroom of God today in 2025. I can't imagine being dead and not being able to know certain things and recognize certain things. I just can't imagine. So I am grateful. I am so grateful. But here's the thing. In the Nation of Islam, we have what we call the restrictive laws of Islam. So certain things like gossiping, nosiness, slander, those are violations that are worthy of getting you excommunicated from the society. Okay. But I'm gonna apply all of this today in business, because in business, a lot of us get uncomfortable because we see people practicing certain behaviors. And a lot of us are so dead that we don't know that people can see us practicing these behaviors. And that makes you a low vibrational Negro. And there's people out here who are in the classroom of God, if you will, or who've been doing this for a minute, who recognize you. So today, as I said in the intro, and excuse me, because I sneezed about 20 times, even before I was making that little intro video, eyes watering. So, bear with you, girl. I want to peel back the layers on a behavior that quietly sabotages our ability to build trust, morality, and cooperative economics. Because a lot of y'all tell me, and I said, look, I read that in the book, but I don't know how we're going to get together. I don't know how we're going to do it. I want to talk about this a little bit. I'm talking about nosiness, gaslighting, and the tendency for people to dig, diagnose, and psychoanalyze others without authority or understanding. Okay. And I'm not doing this to shame you if this is what you do. I want you to understand the origins and where it comes from, and to help you to protect your spiritual integrity and strengthen the bond that you're able to create with somebody as we build powerful cooperative economic communities. Okay. Have you ever experienced someone Googling you, digging into your private life, or pretending to know your psychology or your motives? Not only is this a rude behavior, but there's a reason why people do it. There's some people, if you get an award, if they see you online, they see you doing something, they Google and they're digging. What is she doing? What is he doing? Where did it come from? How they get that? And they all in your business, and they digging. And they think it's cute, and they think it makes them smart. They think it makes them some kind of investigator. They think it makes them somebody. But there's a real psychological place where you learn that from. Because there's people that run this world. You know what they do? They gaslight, and then they diagnose. It's a psychoanalytical process that actually comes from Sigmund Freud. And so some of us in our educational processes, we've picked that up, but we don't realize that that kind of thing is what makes it to the point where you cannot be trusted. You're untrustworthy. You dig in people's business, and then you gaslight. It's usually people you're close. Usually you dig and then you reach out to them. And now you're gaslighting. You're gaslighting about what you see. You're telling other people, no, they want to do. You're telling them all about what you dug up. Okay. And then you diagnose. You diagnose and you create a rule in your life. Oh, yeah, no, I ain't messing with that. I ain't doing this or that. Or I heard blah, blah, blah. You create this diagnosis. And then once you create the diagnosis, you may or may not be doing the next step. But what they do in the corporate world is once you get gaslit, then you get diagnosed, then they attack you. So listen, nosiness in the digital age is different from the neighbor peeking out of the window curtain. Today, nosy people dig through your social media, Google your name, use fragments of information to create a narrative about you. You may post something and you may say, hey, I'm so excited. I got accepted to this program. And all of a sudden, that person who probably is supposed to be your friend, instead of calling you and saying, hey, girl, congratulations. Hey, man, what's up, bro? Congratulations. They start digging and they all up in your business. Then they start calling you and asking you qualifying questions. And it's a gaslighting type of question because they think they're smart. They think they know the answer, or they think you might be doing something. So they're asking you all this stuff because they're doing it so they can create a diagnosis or a judgment about you. And I'm telling you that people, look, all I can say is stop playing with people who can see. Because when people like me can see you, you'll never get all the information from me that you may need to take yourself to the next level. And I'll never be in a business partnership with you because you're untrustworthy. Because the question is, why are you doing all of that? So these people, they Google, and they're not Googling because they're just trying to figure out certain basic things in business about you. They're really Googling because they're using it to be nosy, to gaslight, to see if they can get what you got, to be up in your business so they can copy what you're doing. Okay. And they may even attempt to diagnose you as if they are qualified to do psychoanalysis. This is what Sigmund Freud did. You learned that from some little raggedy school you went to. Gather information, gaslight, diagnose, and then attack. And then here's how stupid they are. Once they do that little process, then they rank themselves. How do they fit in the equation? This behavior masquerades as concern. They may act like they're just curious, but at its core, it's rooted in insecurity, low vibration, and a desire for control and positioning. And let me tell you something, it is low vibrational Negro activity and what you're doing to yourself. Let's say you have the capacity to function at a 10. When you engage in that kind of behavior, you're only going to be functioning at a 6 or an 8 because you're going to reduce it because your vibration is so low. See, there's a difference between like a healthy curiosity and intrusive behavior. Curiosity seeks to understand. And I'm going to stop right there because you probably are using deceptive intelligence because you're probably telling yourself, I'm just trying to understand. Why do that? Especially in cases where you can just ask the person. You're doing it because you either don't believe they're going to tell you the truth, you don't think you're going to understand it, or you're up to something. Okay. And that nosiness that you're doing, you seek to control, to gossip, to tear down. And when people indulge in that type of nosiness, they erode the very trust that is the foundation of any real relationship. Gossip is the currency of the insecure. Integrity is the currency of the trustworthy. I'm very conscious about this in business. This is why I have so many people that want to partner with me. And this is why some of y'all are alone in your business. And then the people that Allah may bless you to attract in your life, you're doing this kind of stuff too. I want you to put this in the chat. Gossip is the currency of the insecure. Integrity is the currency of the trustworthy. Okay? Gossip is the currency of the insecure. Integrity is the currency of the trustworthy. Let's talk about this and where it comes from. Because we practice a lot of these behaviors that we learned in slavery that were passed down. And because we're not that smart, we're still doing it today. And we're dressing it up because we're always trying to stunt on somebody. We're not really truly collaborative and wanting to see a person be blessed or get ahead or really support because we're too busy being nosy, gaslighting, and diagnosing. Now let's talk about the roots of this type of behavior. In psychology, it's called projection. People seeing their own fears and flaws in you. Gaslighting is where someone tries to make you question your own reality. And then the pseudo-diagnosing, that's where someone weaponizes psychological terms without authority. Even the pseudo-diagnosing where they use it and just create a judgment in their head. And so they will go so far as to lie and say, oh, you know what? I just applied to that school you got that award from. They didn't apply to that school. Then nobody asked them about that. Or they may say, I saw you modeling in that event. They asked me to model. How did that come about? And do you know? Don't know. Ain't nobody asked them to do nothing. They're lying because they really just want to get the information and they're too insecure to say, hey, sis, I'm interested in modeling like you did. Can you tell me about that? Can you teach me how you did that? Instead, they want to pretend like they already in the game. And so they'll say, yeah, you know, I model. They asked me about that. But instead of shutting up, if they asked you, then you know all about it and you're already in the game. They'll keep asking you questions. Yeah. Okay. How did you do that? How long did it take for you to do that? Who told you about it? Really? Did so-and-so call you directly? How do you know them? Well, I was told that they are such and such, such and such. See, let me tell you something. Historically, surveillance and mistrust have been used against marginalized communities. This is why don't nobody want to mess with you when you operate like this. And I'm saying this harshly because a lot of us in business are doing this because we learned it from somewhere. We're doing this because we're insecure and we don't know that it does not make us a fit for higher levels of engagement. You're disqualifying yourself. Stop it. You may be a great person and God is really trying to bless you, but you keep disqualifying yourself because you're engaging in the same behaviors that COINTELPRO, the FBI program that spied on us, dismantled Black leadership movements, that constant suspicion and invasion of privacy that we now use on each other that trained us to subconsciously police one another. See, nosiness today is not just a personal flaw. It's a carryover of those old tactics of control and division that were used on us. And it is disqualifying those of us from being part of certain inner circles. At its root, this behavior comes from fear, scarcity, and low vibrational mindset. People who see you doing this are not going to let you in. You ain't getting in. You're going to always be on the outskirts, trying to figure stuff out. This mimics the colonizers' tactics that divide and conquer. And when we repeat it against each other, we become the agents of our own oppression. And I know you don't mean that, but you are becoming an agent of our own oppression. And you may think it's cute because you've been able to get a certain place on your own by yourself, a house, a car, maybe a little business, maybe a few little trinkets here and there. But those inner circles, those circles where you can really get in and make a difference, where you're invited to a program or a dinner or a board. Now, some of these gaslighters right now are listening to this podcast and they'll say, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that. I'm going to now say that I was invited to this secret such and such. See, at the end of the day, you can't lie your way up out of this. It's vibrational. And when people are functioning based on a vibration that aligns them with Almighty God, Allah, they see you. But here's the beautiful thing. Just as Allah gives us grace and mercy, most times those people will give you grace and mercy because they realize you're just functioning at a lower vibration. You're like a third grader. And nobody's going to slap the third grader for being a third grader. You're just going to give the third grader an opportunity to elevate and pass to, they get to the 12th grade. And it may take them a long time. They may get there overnight, or it may take them a while. See, I learned being in circles with high-end, high net worth individuals who taught me how to get in front of opportunities. And I paid attention because I didn't want to be that third grader trying to get at a 12th grader. They may not slap you in the face. They just may not let you in. She ain't ready. He ain't ready. Okay. Now let's talk about business. Let's dig into business with this a little bit. Okay. Trust and morality are the real currencies of business, as we just said. And some of y'all are thinking, because these people out here, listen, times have changed. Did y'all get the show on Pluto? The reason why you see all of these things going on in government is because they are grasping at straws, trying to survive. The economy is going to become a global economy. You're only going to get in if you are the person that can be trusted. People got to be able to trust you 9,000 miles away and know that you ain't hating, you ain't gaslighting, you ain't psychoanalyzing like some Sigmund Freud student. If I can't trust you, I can't partner with you. If I feel that you're gossiping about me, if I feel that you're diagnosing me behind my back, Googling my private life, I can't pull resources with you. I have friends who are very high net worth individuals that are outside of the United States, and they live by this. They live by this. Nosiness and gaslighting destroys cooperative economics, and they do not want to deal with you if you do this kind of thing. They told me, they said, people who are like that cannot be trusted in business, in relationships, in partnerships. And so what do? They watch your vibration. These are people who have reached a billionaire status, and they're, international, and they're in a space a little bit different from our space here in the US, where we got other things we have to watch out, but they really watch vibrationally. y'all know we do it in the hood. We watch vibrationally. That person can't be trusted. Nope. And listen, this is so deep. I'm just saying, y'all, stop being like this. When we can't trust each other, we can't pool our money, our skills, or our power. See, can't nobody lay down and go to sleep next to you if you doing this kind of behavior. What do I mean by that? In business, it's literally like you're in a relationship. You got to be able to lay down and go to sleep next to that person. And if that person's going to wake up and stab you, you can't go into business with them. When we commit to confidentiality, when we commit to honesty, when we practice emotional intelligence, when we're constantly trying to improve and get better, not let me see how many more material items, let me see what more I can get, but really deep down inside healing those money and insecurity wounds that you got, healing the damage that's been done to you because somebody told you when you was a little boy that you wasn't good enough. Somebody told you when you was a little girl, you ain't good enough. Somebody slapped you in the face when you was a grown woman and made you realize, oh, I'm not good enough. Somebody dated you and took away your self-esteem. Somebody married you and dogged you out, took away your self-worth, your self-identity, your ability to love yourself. So you got to start all over and heal. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to first love ourselves. Okay? When we commit to confidentiality, honesty, emotional intelligence, we create the conditions for businesses and communities to thrive. But if you've been through some kind of trauma, you fell in love with your first wife and y'all had children and she messed around on you, or you had a parent who deceived you, who wasn't there for you. You had a relative. We have to re-heal over these things. And I'm not saying this to shame you, because we live in a type of world that people do things every single day. I'm going through something right now that I'm working to heal my way through, something that hurts me. But that's natural. It's okay. We've all seen this and been through this. And you got to be big enough to stop the behaviors. So when you feel hurt, don't go lie on nobody. When you feel hurt, or when you see somebody do something, now I get this all the time because Allah blesses me and gives me big things to do. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with having that kind of life. And so people are constantly looking, digging, trying to see, well, who is she? Maybe I can talk to this person. I remember when Jeff and I first started building the hospital, I had people in my family that said, oh, I think she's his manager or his secretary. I ain't been a secretary a day in my life. And I don't know when I've ever been some kind of manager. I came into that situation with a plethora of high-end skills and responsibility that I paid for with my blood, sweat, and tears. I was blessed because my business partner recognized that. And he would go through the same thing. He's a whole triple fellowship, double board certified surgeon. And you know what people would do? Okay, he didn't do this because he Black. He couldn't have did it. It must have been her. So we both would get that and we would watch that and laugh and bounce that off of each other. But people with that kind of mindset will continue to nibble at your consciousness. Don't fall victim to it. Stop it right now, today. Go deep inside of yourself and figure out what you need to heal from, what is making you insecure. And I teach anybody who works with me, I teach you how to, before you do anything, see if it's coming from a place of hurt or pain. If you say, You know what? I want 7 cars, 7 vehicles. Is that coming from the fact that you've never had anything? Is it coming from the fact that you want people to see you? I know people who will say, I have 7 cars and I drive a different one to work every day. Well, I guarantee you that you're probably impacting how people do business with you because you stunting on these folks. And I'm the first person to love nice things. I love nice materials and clothes. I don't like no cheap materials. I don't like cheap stuff. I buy good quality stuff, and everything I buy or get, whether it's a dining room set, whether it's statues, a cabinet, or dishes, it has a hidden meaning and there's something special about it. So I get it. But we all got to question ourselves and say, is there something I got to work on? And we got to start healing. We got to start healing fast. Because as the world around us continues to exhibit all of this pain and spewing all this blood and vomit and hatred all over everywhere, you got to be able to maintain your sanity. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to want to build a circle of trust that's going to extend the ongoing concern of the business and the ongoing concern of your life. Did you know that in Japanese culture, when people get older, they build these circles of people where they're support networks. They hang out, they work out together, they call each other, they check on each other. And they say that these circle of friendships are responsible for these people living to well beyond 100 years old. You know why we die at such an early age over here in this country? Is because we're dealing with the stress of bad relationships. A lot of us are in bad marriages. We got bad relationships with family, friends, and we don't have a circle around us that we can trust. But moreover, we might be able to trust them, but they can't trust us because we nosy and gaslighting and diagnosing people. It's bad. And this is what the algorithms in our enemy's world are counting on. So if they see a bunch of us partner together, they say, oh, it's only a matter of time before they fall out. Did you also know that in Japanese culture, these people create these businesses that are like cooperative economics or circles of influence? I have a circle of friends that when we call each other, something could be going on with the business or whatever, and we like, okay, boom, I'm down. I got you. What you need? You need some customers. You need to make some phone calls. You need to fill this up. We're supporting each other. You need a donation. We try our best to do that. And so we're all striving to do more from a revenue standpoint so we can support one another in a better way. And at a certain point, we won't even have to go out and get loans but we're there to support and help one another. But did you know that in Japanese culture, that same concept that they use with the elderly, they use it in business, and it improves their business or the life of their business tremendously? See, it's real easy to think that you're going to go into business and you're going to last and this business is going to be there forever. Because you're sitting over there like a lone duck as a rugged individual, it's real easy for the enemy to take you out. Reason they ain't messing with you right now is because you ain't making no money. I'm going to say that again. See, because you don't know this, but our leader teaches us that you pay close attention to who a person's enemies are. And that's going to tell you a lot about who that person is. The reason why those big powers that be, you hear me talk about them in healthcare, in the preservation space, in business and coaching and consult. The reason why is because you don't pose no threat. They've already seen your low vibrational behavior. And I know people, listen, y'all don't even know how these people work because y'all so busy being low vibrational yourself. But when they look at you and they see low vibrational behaviors, I know this because I've been on the other side of the table. I was blessed to be a business consultant in the corporate realm, sitting on the other side of tables for a very long time in high places, high security, high confidential places, when they see you and they know, and now they know either because they look at your algorithms on your computer or they look at your behavior, they see you engage in some certain types of low vibrational behavior, they already know how much money you ain't gonna make. You pose no threat because they don't have to worry about you, a billionaire, seeing you and going, I want to partner with them. They don't have to worry about an organization saying, let's bring her into the fold. They don't have to worry about that because they know that your vibration is low because they've been able to clock your conversation. They can tell, they judge by how you interact with people. The types of people that you keep around you and that are on your teams. All of that is looked at by these high-end and high network people who, or I should say, governors of these high network opportunities. Who you hanging out with? What do you do? What you doing on your computer? Who you talk about? How you roll? How you interact with people? You know, these people so slick. Do you know they go and ask people? They will look at your team. And they say, okay, this is a low vibrational individual. This one's low. This one's this. This one's this. This one's this. He ain't going nowhere. They already know that. I've seen the teams come to the table and they'll say, you know what? Do some reconnaissance work on our competition. Who's out there? And they love Black people with creative ideas, but who practice low vibrational behavior. You know why? Because it is our culture that has fueled this entire capitalist system for the past 400 years, whether it's our labor or the things that we invent and put together. But when they check you out and dig into you and they see you real low vibrational, they say, oh, okay, let him or her build it up to a certain amount of money and then we'll just take it. I seen it happen. And one of the reasons why I wrote this book, one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I want to help our people so that we stop falling into these traps. Because a lot of us, we have creative ideas. We got a beautiful concepts that we're working on. We're so amazing, so gifted that we can just create like that. And we get attention. We can get press. We can get attention. And next thing you know, we out here in the public, but we practice these low vibrational behaviors. And there are people in rooms who are sending people to find out how you roll and what kind of behaviors. How does he or she interact with their people? How do they handle things? Oh, I see this person with them. Are they talking about her? Are they, I remember one client in particular had started having lunches with somebody else that was a real competitive threat to the client that I was working on. And so they wanted to know everything about it. Oh, they go to lunch. What do they be talking about? Find out somebody in her office that can tell us more. We already know how she functions. And this is the dangerous thing. People like myself and other people, they say, okay, I already know that these are high vibrational functioning people. How do we sabotage a high vibrational functioning person? We put a low vibrational person in a key position around them. So they may see you have an ad out for a job. And they literally, I've seen it done, pick somebody to go interview for that job with the perfect credentials, and then they send them in there to practice low vibrational behavior, and you're trying to figure out, man, what is going on? And they in all your meetings. Or they may realize it. They may say, okay, she's the CEO of such and such, but her COO is engaging in certain behaviors, doing this, doing that, low vibrational. It's only a matter of time. And now that we know that that person does it, we just dangle a carrot. I tell you something else they do. If you got a partnership or you work closely with somebody and they know you're jealous of that person, they know you an insecure person, but they see you trying, they will continue to elevate that person and drive you crazy. So you don't let people control you with this kind of stuff. How do we move forward? You got to learn to set boundaries. Protect your energy and your private life. Not everything needs to be public or shared. If you are a person and you're the nosy person, you're the gaslighter, you're the person who calls yourself an investigator, but you digging around in everybody's situation, and the way you know that is sinister is that you're just not studying in general. Like, I want to open up a burger restaurant. Let me just study all the burger restaurants and all the owners of burger restaurants. That ain't what you're doing. You digging into people who you see around you and people that you potentially have the opportunity to be connected to or engaged with. So you all up in their business. It's not integral and you're sinister. So that person may go to lunch with you or kick it with you or work with you, and you all up in their business. You ain't in the people's business down the street. You don't even know the forces that are set up against you that are keeping you at the same income level that you've been at. You don't even know the people who's sitting up watching you who are saying she ain't finna make no more money than what she making now. He ain't going nowhere with that business. You can't see it because your vibration is too low, because you're too busy investigating and being nosy when it comes to people who are just close up around you. Did you ever consider that maybe, just maybe, God really loves you and decided to put somebody up around you or to show you something so that you could learn? Did you ever consider that? Did you ever consider that maybe, just maybe, God's grace and mercy for you is embedded upon that very person that you're investigating and diagnosing and psychoanalyzing? Listen, don't be like this white man out here. We done built this entire economy. We give them all the ideas. We do all this stuff. And what do? Investigate, psychoanalyze, investigate, diagnose, and psychoanalyze us, and use that psychoanalysis to manipulate us out of our currency. I'm just saying, practice high vibrational alternatives if you have a habit of this, because this is something that people do habitually. Okay? Instead of gossiping, practice an open dialogue. Be open. Because most of the time you just doing it with people that's right around you. You can pick up the phone and call them probably. And instead of diagnosing people, focus on your own self-reflection. Work on building trust, brick by brick. You ain't got to be the police. You ain't got to investigate everybody and they doing this and they doing that. You ain't got to do that. See, if you learn, let me give you a little secret. If you learn to pay attention to behaviors and patterns, you're going to be much more successful. If you dig and gaslight. Gaslighting is when you lie or you make up a reason as to why you want the information. Or when you do that, you really are telegraphing that you can't see and that you're not that good at business. Because let me tell you something. If you're good at business, you understand patterns. You understand how to recognize patterns. You understand how to manipulate patterns. And then ultimately, you learn how to create your own patterns. It's a real telltale sign that you ain't doing that and you can't do it. And the only way you know how to do business is just like the colonizers. Look, nosy, gaslight, copy, take. Oh, I seen them doing this. You got a hodgepodge of stuff that you got in your brain because in your mind, you trying to do everything you see somebody else doing. All right. Nosiness and low vibration behaviors are rooted in fear. They're rooted in projection and historical oppression. When I see you doing this, I already know you come from a poor-minded household. And this ain't to be offensive. I don't care what material things may have been around us growing up. If the mindset is poor, then you are going to be practicing certain types of behavior. I already know you've been through some type of severe trauma that has rocked your world, a severe trauma that has caused a virus in your personal operating system. All right. So your very behaviors erode trust. You have no morals. You can't be trusted. And no one can go into cooperative economics with you. But listen, we have the power to rise above this. We can do it. We can rise above this because maybe, just maybe, there's a power greater than ourselves that we can rely on and lean on to be successful. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. I'm sorry. I've been going. All right. Happy October, Mom. I see you. 8302 has one, says, Walaikum salam. Brother Ronald in that chat. He said, I know what you mean. Why does the devil keep our people apart from his social equality? Because he don't want us to see him. Do you know the devil's greatest job is to pretend like he don't exist? That's why he does the things that he does. Don't you do it? Okay, let's see. Brother Ronald said they do our entertainers, sports figures, and the film industries correct. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan definitely guided us right. Race has never been to the swift. Dr. Do right on time. Okay. 8302 says gossip. Oh, yeah. I said, yeah, let me put this because this is what we got to understand. Gossip is the currency of the insecure. And gossip is a catch-all phrase. It's not just talking about other people, but it's also that concept of gathering data so that you can package and diagnose someone. And then you're doing it with people that are right around you. I'm not talking about your gossiping about Beyonce or whatever. I'm talking about the gossiping you're doing about the manager that you work with, the gossiping you're doing about somebody that you're supposed to be partnering with in business, the gossiping you're doing about people in your fraternity or the sorority, the people right around you, people that you think are competitive in the same industry that you're in. You want to look best to the white man, so you are doing it towards them. So then the gaslighting comes in because a lot of times y'all so crazy, y'all reach out to them, us, and you attempt to gaslight. You gonna gaslight me about my business? You don't know I see that? Or you may gaslight somebody else. Here's another thing that's done. It's like being in a bad abusive relationship. This is how you could tell that people are in bad relationships, or that they've been traumatized by bad relationships, because what they'll do is they may see you out to lunch. You out to lunch, you trying to work on a project with somebody, and y'all decide to go to lunch, and y'all going over everything. And you run into somebody you know. And then they start digging in. Who is this? Who's she? Who does she with? Who is that person? And blah, 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 blah. And then you do all that. Then you call the person. Then you call me and you attempt to gaslight me. You know that person that you was with. I heard, are you interested in working with somebody that is a returning citizen? I heard back in the day. But they may not tell you about the person you was with. This is how they do it. They saw you with somebody. This actually happened to me. I was working with somebody who was building a re-entry program. So a person who is a returning citizen, someone who was previously incarcerated, who's getting out. This person does job training and workforce development for people in that space. And so we went to lunch they became a client, and we went to lunch to map out their workforce development training for returning citizens. And I saw somebody I know, and I'm like, hey, because I tried to choose a Black restaurant or whatever, it wasn't no secret meeting. So we went there and used it, kind of just had some coffee and talked and had a salad. And so the person called me later that evening and said, I don't be messing with people that's that been in jail. And I don't know. Do you think that people who work with those kind of people are trustworthy? She went in all around the mulberry bush about, never said, when I shook the hand of the person that I saw you sitting there at lunch with, I asked somebody who he was. Because really, I'm being nosy. I'm trying to see, is that your boyfriend? You messing around with that person? Who is it? They told me who the person was. I went home and Googled and did a whole goddamn research project on the person. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to gaslight you and just talk in third person about him, and then see if I can elicit your opinion. But I'm going to pretend like I'm looking for your advice. Now, y'all already know I play chess. I'm 5 steps ahead. I know why you're doing it. But I went along because I said, I want to see how far this person goes with it, because this is going to tell me how far to go in business with this person and how much grace and mercy they need from Almighty God Allah. And the person, they went on and on and on and down. And this lasted like 2-3 days. They called me back to back. Hey, did you ever talk back to, did you ever put some thought into, what I was saying the other day? And I just let them go. And then after a while, they kind of just forgot about it. And, that we had already completed the contract, and I helped them do their workforce development plan, and they got their contract, and the rest is history. But I just wanted, and this person, this lived rent-free in their head for days. And I said, this is going to tell me a lot about the psychology of this person. Not only did this live rent-free in their head for days, but the attempt at gaslighting was really bad. And because it had become such a habit, it was like a dope fiend type of thing. They couldn't think straight, because if they couldn't get in touch with me to talk about it, I could feel them just tripping. And then they started to sink emotionally, because then they felt stupid. I think after a while of going through it and not really getting a reaction out of me, they start realizing like, I'm doing, this is all in their head. You think you're going to get in front of some big opportunities and a big check being like that? It's not happening. All right. So I wanted to talk about that today because those are one of the things, and it's this kind of stuff I'm talking about in the book. When we start talking about cooperative economics and unity, practicing these same tactics, okay, that the slave master practiced on us, that's preventing us to this very day from uniting and coming together. But guess what? Let me tell y'all something. Let me get y'all lean in here. God wants us to unite. God wants us to cooperate, and he's going to set the conditions that's going to force us to do it. See, if we can't get ourselves together to heal, then when we all fighting on the front line together, when we all suffering together, oh, you're going to get real united at that point. When you got to pass a potato over the gate or through the window to the neighbor because y'all ain't none of us got no food. Oh, we're going to be real brothers and sisters in a minute. I'm just saying. All right, family. So don't forget, go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com. You can learn all about our new upcoming event that we have. It's a fundraiser. It's a donation if you want to attend and participate. It's semi-private, so you do have to go through a registration process. But, you know, go through it. We reserve the right to refuse entry to anybody that's crazy. And tomorrow night I'm going to be on, go to my social media. I'm going to be on Virtue Magazine's podcast. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time. You go on there, and I think she has a registration process, but I think it's going to be a good podcast. So go check that out. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Get your book. Go to artandscienceofbusiness.com. Get your copy of my new book. Okay. So that when I get to Houston next week, we can have really fruitful conversations. And you already got your book and you can start reading. Okay. This is like a textbook. Okay. So it's not just, we talk about mathematical thinking. Y'all heard some of the subjects. Okay. All right, family. Love you all. Wishing you more goodness than you've ever experienced or imagined. And I want you to remember that God loves you. He wants you to be successful. You don't have to manipulate your way into being successful. You don't got to show off your way into being successful. You don't got to gaslight your way into being successful. You got the God of the universe that desires your success. All you got to do is settle down and work on yourself and start being a strategic planner, not only for your own personal healing, but for your business. Any type of negative, low vibrational and energetic behavior is not going to end well. Not today. Not today. We are living in a different day and time. And if you can't see that, then you're blind. And nobody's going to have mercy. There's not a lot of people out here that are going to have mercy when the economy in America is falling. So be mindful of that. Get your house in order. Get your morality in order. Get your behaviors in order, because there's going to be a separation. You're going to have a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. And you can determine what side of the coin you want to be on and how you want to live. And if you're practicing these types of immoral, low vibrational behaviors, then you're going to find yourself on the side of the gap that you may not want to be in, because it's going to be impossible for you to function on the other side of the gap, because the people on the other side of the gap ain't going to mess with you because you're too low vibrational. All right. So let's raise it up. Let's get it together. And we will see you all, inshallah, tomorrow morning, right here on the Sajdah channel. Peace and blessings. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Pass this along.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive. and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible